Hi there, this is Jeff, and I'm going to go over how to get the artwork ready for the 4-foot wide by 16-foot tall Triga Quad Tower, and this is the 4-sided tower. And to start off with, what I'm going to do is just drag this template into Photoshop, and as it opens up, a couple things you want to check right off the bat. You want to make sure that's in CMYK mode, which it is right here. If for some reason it opens up, it's in RGB, you could just go to Image Mode, and then just make sure that CMYK is selected. Next thing, you want to make sure that this is set at 125 DPI because this template is actually already full size. It's at 100% size, so it's actually a really big template. But you want to make sure that's 125, so just go to Image and Image Size. And under Resolution right here, you can just see it's at 125 DPI. Okay, so once you have that, you're ready to get started. And what you want to do is you want to actually design literally right on top of this template. It's going to really help with getting the position correct, and it will already be at full size. And what you can do is you can actually browse your computer. You just go to File and Place, and you can actually start dropping in your logos and your photographs, and you can begin designing right on top of it. So one thing to point out is you'll notice there's different colors here. There's the red and the green, and then the light gray. So the red denotes the bleed, which goes all the way around the perimeter. This is actually 2 inches of bleed. And that's where, after it gets printed out, the print will actually get cut and stitched and sewn in that area. So you don't want anything too close to the edge, your logos and all of that. You want it to be well within the green area. So on this template, this actually represents the 4 sides of your tower. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. The light gray is going to be the corners. So that's going to be an area where it transitions from one side to the next. Now the way it does that on the Triga Tower is it's a little bit rounded right there. And so you want to make sure that if you have a logo or any text or anything like that, you don't want it to run into the area where it starts to curve to go to the next side. You want it to be well within the green area here. So as long as you add a logo in and it's within the green, it's going to be on the flat surface side of the tower, and you're going to be in good shape. So that's it. And what I want to do is I want to show you an example of some artwork that already fits the template. Okay, so here is an example of some artwork that fits the template really well. And you can see here there's the 4 logos going around the tower. Here's all the different sides. So just kind of a simple layout just to illustrate what we're looking for. You'll notice that the background does extend all the way into the bleed, but it is an area where it's okay if it gets cut and finished. So you will also notice on the artwork, if I right click and I go to blending options, I can actually move the opacity down some, and it will show me where all the artwork is on the template itself. And so it's really helpful. We can make sure that the position is correct and just double check, make sure everything's where it needs to be. And once everything looks good, you can go ahead and click cancel. And at this point, what you want to do is you want to zoom in by pressing Control and plus, or Command and plus if you're using a Mac, and zoom all the way in until about 1 inch equals 1 inch in real life. So up here on the screen, we have the ruler bar, which is set in inches, and that's about 1 inch in real life on my screen. And I can use the navigator tool to kind of comb around and look at everything, make sure that the logos are super crisp, that nothing is pixelated, and that the picture and everything is high resolution. So once you know everything looks good, then you can go ahead and back out, pressing Control minus or Command and minus on a Mac. And at this point, this is where you want to save a copy of your working layered file. So in case you need to go back and make any changes, this is a good point to just make sure you have a copy of that file that you can that's editable, that you can go back and change if you need to. Because at this point, we're going to go ahead and get it ready to save for printing. And what you can do is you can just go ahead and delete the template layer altogether. You just click on it, drag it into your trash can, and now you're just left with your final artwork. And at this point, what you want to do is you want to go to Layer and then flatten, layer, and then flatten. And what that's going to do is it's just going to compress everything together, all of your art layers, into just one flattened layer. And this makes it a little bit more manageable to upload. Also, if you use any fonts or anything like that on your end, it won't matter if I have the fonts on my computer because you've already flattened it. So it just kind of locks everything in place. So now what you're left with is a really big art file. That's okay. That's pretty common. Usually it won't allow you to save it as a PDF at this point because it'll just be too big. So what I recommend is a large document Photoshop file. It's a .psb actually. And they print really well, and it can be saved as a really big file too. So you could just go to File, Save As. Once it's been flattened, go ahead and save it as a large document Photoshop file. And that'll be the one that you want to upload. And that's it. If you have any questions, please let me know.